Order, please. The Honourable, the member for Mount Pearl Southlands.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And let me say, first of all, what a pleasure it is to speak in the House of Assembly. Of course, this will be my first opportunity since the new session and since the election. So I do also just want to take the opportunity, first of all, just to welcome all honourable members and congratulate them on their success in the last provincial election. And as has been said, I'm sure regardless of what party we represent, what stripe we represent, the bottom line is that it was the people's will that we're here. We have a mandate from the people of our districts, and I'm sure that everybody is here to do what's best for the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. Madam Chair, I had planned actually on starting off. I wanted to talk a little bit about the budget, but there is an issue that's sort of arisen this afternoon, so I do want to at least make note of that first. Madam Chair, I refer to the petition which was presented by the member for Mount Pearl North on St. Peter's Primary. And Madam Chair, I just want to say that there's been issues at St. Peter's Primary, as we know, for quite a number of years in terms of space. And I can remember sitting on the other side of the House of Assembly and presenting petitions at that time about spatial issues, about the fact that there were kids doing gym class in the cafeteria and so on. And unfortunately, that's an issue that's been ongoing for quite some time. Very pleased to see that there are going to be some modulars added now, which was actually something which I had advocated for at the time, as opposed to changing the grade configurations. I had advocated that we should be looking at some modular spaces so that we could keep St. Peter's, what was then St. Peter's Elementary, intact, but the minister of the day, of course, saw fit not to go down that road. But with that being said, my colleague, the member for Mount Pearl North, does make some valid points. We do still have issues at St. Peter's Primary, and certainly, as he indicated, I also have been contacted by parents of kids that go to that school, but also parents of children who will be going to that school next year in terms of full-day kindergarten. And of course, St. Peter's Primary would have children from both Mount Pearl North and Mount Pearl Southlands would be attending. As a matter of fact, probably more from Mount Pearl Southlands than there will actually be from Mount Pearl North, a lot more. And so I just want to say that I am glad that the member is raising this issue. It's certainly an issue which I've had discussions now with parents, some parents. I've had discussion with the administration of the school. I've had numerous conversations with the school board, and I've had conversations with the minister. And I'm very pleased that the minister is taking this issue very seriously, and he has his officials looking into the matter, and we're actually planning on going to visit the school so we can see firsthand exactly what the issues are. So, when it comes to issues around education or healthcare, whatever the case might be, I would say, Madam Chair, that we have to put our political differences aside, and while we may be, on one side of the House or the other, and I'm sure that the member from Mount Pearl North will be taking jabs on this side, and we'll be taking jabs back on the other side about what they did or they didn't do, and so on. But I just want to say for the record that when it comes to all issues surrounding the city of Mount Pearl, the schools we have in Mount Pearl, healthcare issues for the citizens of Mount Pearl, roads and infrastructure for Mount Pearl, whether it comes from recreation for Mount Pearl, funding for seniors in Mount Pearl, then I don't view the member of Mount Pearl North as my adversary in that regard. He's my ally, and we will work together for the people of Mount Pearl. And I would certainly encourage all members to take that same approach with your neighbouring districts when it comes to issues around your districts, because it's the people that put you there to work for you, and we have to put petty partisanship aside when it comes to important issues. Madam Chair, I did want to make that point, and I think it's an important one. I also want to make the point that in terms of my district, it's changed, like a lot of districts did change. And my district was once called Mount Pearl South, but since the boundary change, it's now Mount Pearl South Lands. So I actually have about, I'm going to say about 25% of my district is now made up of Southland, Southbrook, Ruby Line area, which of course is in the city of St. John's. And I certainly just want to reiterate my commitment to the people of that area that, you know, while I may have been a strong proponent for the city of Mount Pearl, and I still am and always will be, that part of the district will get the same attention as Mount Pearl gets, and I will continue to advocate for them on the issues that they have in Southlands. And certainly when we look at Southlands, there's going to be a lot of common issues anyway, because the kids are all going to school in the city of Mount Pearl primarily. They're going to be availing of services in Mount Pearl, recreation, sports teams, all that stuff. So a lot of it is common anyway. So when you sort of address one issue, you're addressing for all. But when it comes to specific issues around Southlands and so on, my commitment is to work for the people in that district, to work with the St. John City Council, who I have a good relationship with a number of their council members, to ensure that their issues are dealt with and addressed in the same manner. Madam Chair. Now, Madam Chair, I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have to get through this because, of course, in interim supply debate, with the exception of the first two speakers, we have 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is not a lot of time to get into many issues, unfortunately. But I do just want to say, in terms of the budget, and certainly when we get into, if I get another opportunity to speak on interim supply, or whether we get into the actual budget itself, I will be obviously wanting to reiterate some of the points which I've made in the last couple of years, in the last couple of budgets, when I was sitting on that side of the House. And I reference back to the 2013-2014 budget, and I can remember speaking at that particular budget, and it was Minister Johnson was the Minister of Finance at the time. And I can remember talking about the $1 billion shopping spree, was the terminology that I had used at the time, the $1 billion shopping spree. That was back 2 budgets ago, long before the price of oil hit rock bottom where it's hit now. And even at that time, we were running huge deficits, and we were continuing to spend. Not only were we continuing to spend, we were actually increasing spending, and there was pavement and fire trucks going out the door like nothing else. All those budgets were increased, and I guess one could argue it's because we were leading up to a provincial election, or at least what would have been felt to have been a provincial election coming up, had we not seen the whole leadership issue with the governing party and all the constant delays to try to drag out the election as long as we possibly could. But even at that time, we were increasing all this spending, and at the same time, we were borrowing billions of dollars. And of course, in the last budget, we know that we saw another situation where we were projecting huge deficits, and we were borrowing more billions of dollars again. And even though it was got pointed out by us in the opposition at the time, everything still went through. We continued down the road, and now that the price of oil has really plummeted, we find ourselves in a much worse situation than anybody can anticipate. And I think it's fair to say that nobody on either side of the House would have anticipated oil prices going where they've gone. No one would have seen them going that low. But it's important to remind people that even when oil prices were high, we were still projecting huge deficits, and we were still borrowing huge amounts of money. So when we hear the opposition, the now opposition, say it's all about the oil, we couldn't control oil, they're absolutely right. But it wasn't all about the oil prices. It was about unsustainable spending even before oil prices dropped. So that'll be some of the points, I guess, some of the issues that certainly I know I'll be raising. I know some of our colleagues will be raising about how we got here. But more importantly, as we get into the budget and so on, it's important that we not just focus on how we got here, but we focus on what we're going to do now that we're here. And there's no doubt there's going to be some tough decisions that are going to have to be made. It's going to be coming forward in the budget. and I'm sure there's going to be lots of debate, lots of spirited debate, no doubt. But at the end of the day, I think we all realise where we're to, and we all realise we're going to have to take some drastic action. So I look forward to participating in that debate when it happens. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Time's expired.